From how we handle our business to how we show our love for our country, join us as we discover 8 things Americans do that confuse the rest of the world. Number 8, open 24/7. I have to put a small contingent on this particular entry because despite what people think, no, America is not the only place on earth that has 24/7 stores. That being said, if you look at all the countries of the world, you'll notice that the country that has the most volume of 24/7 stores is the United States. If you really think about it, the very concept of a 24/7 store is odd, as there was a time where this would have been very impossible, or very odd to do thanks to technological advances at the time. Not to mention, for many decades in the United States, Sunday was viewed as a rest day, and thus the stores weren't open. However, that slowly changed and many stores became open on Sunday, and then they decided to do longer hours, which eventually led to the opening of 24/7 stores like Wal-Mart, 7-Eleven, and more. In the eyes of the world, this shouldn't really be a thing, mainly because it's a stress on both the store owner, and the store workers. After all, you'll have to now find someone willing to work the late shift at like 3 a.m. Obviously, people will do this, but it's still weird. Plus, many countries feel that doing more basic hours keeps customers happy and the workers happy. But ensuring that the store is open all days of the week and on holidays? Yeah, that is sure to drive a wedge with some. But in America, the journey to get profit is paramount, so the stores remain open. 7. Raise the flag. In every nation, regardless of its place on this earth, there are certain symbols that are attached to them. Usually, there is a key animal that is considered the symbol for the country. There's a historical figure that is tied to its creation and all of that. And then there is the flag. The flag is the thing that most people associate with most countries. And if you study these countries, you'll likely know at the least the basics of how the flag looks. America is no different, and our flag, thanks to our representation all over the world, is one of the most known. That's not what confuses the world, though. What confuses the world is that we show off our flag in more places than other countries would even think of doing. If you live in America, you'll know what I mean. You'll go into a city area and you'll likely see flags flying in places like businesses and schools and even outside of houses. You'll see the flag on license plates of vehicles or put on stickers that are on the windows of the vehicle. And of course, sports stadiums, government buildings, and other official areas have the flag too. It's not that other countries don't love their flag. It's just that America loves theirs so much that they feel they need to continually show it off. Before we continue, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can see all our weekly videos. Number 6. The question of baseball. Stepping away from politics for a bit, let's talk about something that is without a doubt American: baseball. It is a sport that is literally called America's pastime, and while it was based on a couple of English sports, remember, Americans were first British when the colonies were founded. By the time 1845 came around, what we now know as baseball was founded. Now, there are many myths as to how baseball truly started as a sport, and the popular myth is just that, a myth. But that's not why we're here. The real question of why we're here is that while there are many countries in the world that play baseball, many others think that it's, well, boring. Think about it. Football, American football, is hard-hitting action, dynamic plays that can happen every single play, and so on. Basketball at its best is a shooting fest mixed in with solid defensive plays. Even tennis is one that is action-oriented. And hockey? Yeah, that speaks for itself. But baseball? Not so much. Baseball is a game that can be thrilling when it's close and there's a lot of good things going on. But other times, it's rather uneventful, which is why many don't know why Americans, for the most part, enjoy it so much. This feeling was so popular that it actually was a joke in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, where the antagonist for the movie was watching baseball. He was British, for the record, and didn't like it. In modern times, the baseball season is over 130 games long in the regular season. And then there's the postseason, which can go even longer. And games themselves take sometimes 4 hours to complete, with sometimes no real action happening in them. That's not to say that baseball is a bad sport, far from it. But you have to admit, you really have to dedicate yourself to watching a baseball game in full. 5. Wordplay. Language is the basis for almost all communication in the world. And when traveling to another country that you're not immediately familiar with, it's important that you at least learn part of the language of the land. German, French, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Egyptian, there are all sorts of languages to learn, and each have their own ups and downs and quirks you'll need to memorize. But if you were to ask people from other countries what's the hardest language to learn, they'd tell you American English. This is not an insult on America per se, but rather a fact that as a nation that has a lot of heritages, the melting pot if you will, and a lot of personality quirks in our own right, we tend to get a little complex in how we talk to one another. For example, while some languages have a set number of greetings, Americans, we have a plethora, and it's all based on how you were raised and where you live, or sometimes who influences you. There's also slang. American slang is constantly evolving. Just look at the slang from the 80s and compare it to now. It's totally different. There's even a country song that sings about this, I miss back when. To be clear, learning the basics of the American language is easy enough, as the basics match up with other languages. But when it comes to the subtleties of the language, the slang, the personality of the language, yeah, American English is pretty hard to learn because we keep changing it. Number 4, money. I want you to go to your wallet right now, if you have one, and tell me how much money you have. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to tell me. But I want you to look at the money. Do you notice anything about it? If you have a $1 bill and a $5 bill, hold them up side by side and tell me what you see. You'll see green paper with a legendary American figure on it, a number value, and other numbers and pictures to go along with it, right? American currency is very simple. It's uniform when it comes to the bills, and we can tell it apart quite easily. The rest of the world, not so much. If you look at the currency of other countries, they all have paper billing of a sort, that's true. But they're different shapes, sizes, and colors compared to one another in regards to the country's currency. This is meant to help people know exactly what they're getting upon immediate sight. But because America has a more uniform currency, trips up people who haven't used it before because it all looks the same. It may seem odd that they can't tell the difference, but if you look at it objectively from someone who wasn't raised in America, the simple differences would be hard to understand. 3. All-you-can-eat buffets. America is known for a lot of great things, and then it's known for some things that are good in moderation. And that most definitely applies to the all-you-can-eat buffets. While this isn't exclusively an American thing, it is something that is predominantly American, and that's why many look down on us. For in many countries, especially those who value the quality of their food above all else, the idea of giving the customer all they can eat is ludicrous. Meals are supposed to be savored in their minds, enjoyed in good and reasonable proportions. That's why places like sushi joints or Chinese restaurants only give you a certain amount of food, because they feel it'll be enough to fill up the customer's stomach. Plus, the idea of all-you-can-eat buffet ties into something America is really bad at: gluttony. We have tons of fast food restaurants, and we love to eat even when we're not hungry. So a buffet of this nature is just showing off who is a glutton and how much we can eat before getting sick. And that notion makes other countries very sick. 2. Not taking vacations. When you're a kid, you can't wait to go on vacation with your family, whether it's to places like Disney World or a theme park nearby, or even just going out camping for a week. You enjoy the time off. But when you're an adult, you need to be more focused on work and finances in order to make it through to the next month. It's not an insult, it's a fact of life in many ways. However, in the United States, we have an odd way of viewing vacations as tedious or a lot of work to prepare for instead of something that we should treasure. Around the world, they don't feel this way at all. They love their vacations, and they go to great lengths to enjoy them to their fullest. So them hearing that Americans sometimes have months worth of vacation days that Americans don't spend? Yeah, I can understand why that confuses them. Number 1, college tuition. In America right now, there is a serious epidemic. No, not one of a viral nature, one of a money nature. Our country is built upon many things, and one of those pillars is the pillar of education. And one of the pinnacles of education is being able to go to college and get a degree for a subject you're passionate about. However, even though going to college and getting a degree is the dream, it's also a financial nightmare. While there is financial aid and scholarships, there's not enough to go around, leaving millions of college students in severe debt the moment they get out of college. While it's true, and there are many expensive colleges out there in the world space, a vast majority of colleges out there in the world are done in a way to be affordable in some fashion, thus encouraging students of all races and ages to try their hand at getting an even higher education. What's more, there are some universities that are actually free, making America look even more foolish for charging thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into certain colleges. And until the United States adapts to this, it's going to cause a lot of problems with the next several generations. And there you have it, a bunch of things that the US does that stuns the world. What do you think is the most important thing on this list? Is the world right to view us on these topics in regards to it being bad or confusing? Do you know another thing that should be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.